This is Jane and Sharon, who are friends of ours. They used to live up here in the Baltimore area, started their real estate career after retiring from the government. Which it's, yeah, I look at you guys, it's like you are way too young to be retired. So, but they're retired from the government, put their time in. You guys can share with them if you want what you actually did, which I think was phenomenal, but that's up to you. Anyway, so they moved down to Sarasota and have been buying properties down there, also across, I guess, in 10 or 11 different states. Phenomenal success. They've done over 150, I think it is, deals. I can never remember what it is. And really just truly exceptional people that continue to give and give and give. And the idea here obviously is to share as much information with you. And then if you feel you got value, all this information that they're teaching basically comes from the virtual REI Academy, which is a website with about 50 different courses that talks about master leases and other stuff like that. So I will turn it over to you guys.
Thank you for that. You always make us feel good when you introduce us. So I appreciate that. So James is right. We retired from law enforcement, and then we moved down to Florida for the sunshine and warmth, and we're now freezing to death. Nothing like Maryland, but I'm in a sweatshirt, so that's not cool.
That's been unseasonably cold.
I think it's going to be a cruel joke. They're going to switch things, and Maryland's going to be hot, and it's going to be snowing down here or something. That's my nightmare. But anyway, so we jumped on with James and Nicole and got invited to kind of help the residential stuff with Virtual REI Academy. So we've been doing the Teaching Tuesdays for about a year now, and really honored to be partners with them and have learned so much more about residential, multifamily, everything in between. So it's kind of good for us. We get to help out on this realm, and then we get to sit and hear all the good stuff with multifamily, which we're going to delve into. Tonight, we want to talk a little bit about, important part of your team that sometimes people forget, and as deals become harder to get, you have to depend on finding your friends in the field, and how, tonight it's going to be how to work with real estate agents and kind of how to leverage different agents in different ways. So we did a little bit of PowerPoint. We won't keep you too long. These are supposed to be 15 minutes. We always go
over
way longer than that, but and then we'll have some questions if you like.
Okay. I worked out a couple slides keying on the important parts of working with an agent. It's funny, we've talked to different investors throughout different states and different areas who do not like working with investors, and I always scratch my head at that and wonder why you wouldn't work with agents, why investors wouldn't work with agents. It's a great partnership, and they're a wealth of information, and it could build a strong, powerful relationship where you could really, both of you be successful and make a lot of money along the way. Before you even want to find an agent, you want to define your investment criteria. You want to clearly outline for yourself so that you can pass it on to the agent what you're interested in, such as your objectives, your budget, the property type, the location preferences, and what you expect for a percentage of return on investment. Some people want a larger spread than others. Some people are happy with 15-20% return. Others want that 40 to 60% return. But, there's, deals out there, and however your threshold, you have to really develop that and not exceed, your limitations on that, so that, you want to be conservative and make sure that there's a winning situation. And then once you iron all that out and hash it out and understand, clearly define that for yourself, so that you can find that investor friendly agent and let them know what you're interested in, and, define those goals with them. And a lot of times when we look for investor friendly agents, we look for agents who are also invests in themselves. They might have some investment properties, and you know that they'll completely understand what we're looking for, and they know what deals that are out there and how to, the dynamics of working with you with the investment properties. We want somebody that's not only investor friendly, but also that's has experience working with investors. Sometimes it's a little difficult working with a newbie. It can be done and you can grow together, but oftentimes we look for somebody that does have that experience. And, you know, that investor friendly agent is going to be familiar with the market trends, property valuation techniques that investors use, and negotiation strategies. You have anything to add?
Yeah, and I guess like the bottom line is, so first off, you don't want your, you know, you don't want your agent looking for $300,000 houses if your budget is 100,000. That just wastes their time, your time, everything else. And then, you know, we run into a lot of agents where, you know, we might just say, hey, take the first 5 properties and put, you know, make an offer of 50%. And they don't want to do that because they, you know, they say it'll never work. You know, I feel awkward putting in such a lowball offer, whatever. So that's not the agent for you, because you still want them to do what you want them to do. And it's, you know, legally they have to. If that's your offer, it's your offer. But if they're not comfortable with that, you don't, you know, want to kind of push the issue. And there's plenty of other agents who would. And sometimes I don't think agents understand, you know, that we have to get properties at a certain, you know, amount, that it doesn't make sense to pay $250,000 for a house if you're only going to get $1,000 rent. It just doesn't make sense unless you have some other strategy that you're using. But, you know, so they might not understand. So you kind of have to you have to explain what your strategy is and why you make your offers the way you do and what your buy box is, because, you know, it just doesn't make sense to waste their time.
Great point. And with everything else, this is no exception. Communication is always the key. This is one of the most important elements of this. You want to have that open and transparent communication at all times. And you want to clearly articulate your preferences, your concerns, and any change in your market strategy. You might decide you want to, you know, at first you had the low end houses in the maybe C neighborhoods, but as you develop your company, you might increase and go up to those B neighborhoods. So make sure that you keep the communication open throughout and let them know exactly what you're looking for at different times of, you know, it might be different seasons too. You might be looking for different things. So make sure you're always abreast of, you know, and keep them up to date on what you're looking for.
Even with, you know, if you switch from, you know, rentals to you want to sell or finance houses, or you might, you know, all of a sudden, you know, say, hey, I can handle 2 or 3 flips because I got a good contracting team now. You know, it doesn't make sense because they're going to look for rentals for you, and you really want to be looking for the retail flips.
Exactly. And always ask for their feedback. You know, investors, as Nicole was saying, that sometimes they want to be the alpha and think they know it all. Be humble and ask for their feedback. They're out there all the time, every day. They're talking to customers and clients, and they know what clients want. They know the good areas. They know the market trends. So they're a wealth of information if you use it.
And the good agents even start to know the color schemes and, you know, what's in now, what's in that neighborhood. You know, white walls might be in, but, you know, in another neighborhood, the grays or the browns, whatever, might be in. So, you know, they're up on what people want because they're taking people around all the time to show them the different, you know, the different houses. So they know what people don't like and they do like.
And with all that being said, you want to also respect that agent as well as leveraging their knowledge and, you know, respect their time. Real estate agents, they have so many insights into all the markets and the conditions and the property trends and even the neighborhood dynamics. And they know when dynamics change or evolve, maybe a business or opportunities coming into an area. And if you keep communication open with them, you'll be the first to know, and you could be the first one in there to capitalize, as well as they might have ears to the ground and know if something's leaving the area. So you might want to adjust and move to the next town over, another area. So it's a lot of, like I said, untapped potential that a lot of people don't use and utilize and tap into that knowledge. But you also want to respect their time by learning how to evaluate the properties yourself and look for the properties yourself. And don't always rely on them. Know your numbers. And then when you do present properties to them for them to put offers on, you're not expecting them to run comps on every single property you're looking at it. As you know, as real estate investors, we look at hundreds of deals a month, and that would be crazy to expect them to run comps on every single one of those. So you don't want to beat your agents up and be respectful of them.
And this is probably one of the things, even though we had a comp source, this was probably one of the things we did early on, because unless you're sitting in that seat, you don't know how long it takes to do a CMA for you, and we're like, well, we can just log on and pop up some stuff in 2 minutes. So that must be the same thing that they do, only in they have real time things from MLS. And we didn't realize, and we're like, oh, this looks like a good deal. Can you run this? Can you run that? Can you run this? And we didn't think until, somebody kind of schooled us up on that and said, do you know how long it takes to do one of these? It's not that it's hard for them or it's a ton of time, but when you're looking at 100 deals a week, at least, I mean, we were looking at a ton of deals, putting in offers all the time. So it's a numbers game. You don't want to burn them out with saying, hey, can you run comps on, 15 properties? So zero in on those ones that you might, really need for a retail flip. And then that's the one that, you're going to say, hey, we've done A, B, and C, but can you kind of hone on this? Or is there anything about the area that you can do a CMA to see what was just sold or what's pending or what just listed? So don't do that.
Don't do that. And agents can assist with team building. They have connections with other professionals in the industry, and they're always making new connections, and they know the good contractors that are going to do the good work. They know the handymen. They know the property managers and the ones that are performing. They also are privy to people coming that want to invest. They might be private money lenders, hard money lenders. They're a wealth of information, and even as small as cleaning crews for clean up before you get started on the flip, or even for like mid and short term rentals, you need cleaning crews in there. So even the small little touches and that you might need to.
Even title companies, I mean, that's a big one that can, A, save dollars and B, save headache if it's a good title company. We typically like to work with our title companies, but every once in a while, and if it's a retail flip, they kind of get to pick that title company that they want. And, unless you offer them some kind of incentive or something, but, we've been told by some of our agents, like, oh God, please don't use that company, or, oh, they want to use this one. So we might throw, $500 to $1,000 just to, kind of lead them to our title company, as it were, so that we don't have all the headaches of dealing with a different title company.
Especially with being investors, you have to have a special title company that also understands investors and understands how to take property in different entities or trusts, and they're comfortable with doing assigning contracts and that sort of thing. So you do want that is important, and the agent would know all that. They would know that information, especially ones who have been working with investors. And other assistance that agents can offer, legal and regulatory requirements. And it's essential to stay informed about the requirements in your target market areas, and especially for Jane and I, we have many target market areas. It would be so much for us to learn every regulatory requirement,
Municipalities, permits, all that stuff. Just, they have the ins and outs on that because they're in that market all the time.
Yeah, the agent will know it for you and help you navigate through these.
And just like, I'll just give a quick, like, little story here. We were looking at a property, somebody approached us and wanted to JV with us just because of experience on a flip. And it was a mobile home in a park, but it was no lot rent, so you own the land. But they did have a pretty strict HOA, and so on paper, it looked like a good deal. It had to go through some probate stuff. It took a while, and then it was like going to become clear around hurricane time. We said, no, thanks. If we make it to January, we'll revisit it. That way all the paperwork will be done. But we actually called a agent who is familiar. He sells houses in that park, and he's also familiar with the different things and the HOA requirements and some of the other stuff. So we called him to take a look at it to see what, to comp it out and see what he thought. And he ended up, he made it a non-deal because some of the things that, he was just telling us about, the permits were taking so long. It was going to take a good 6 or 7 months just to get the permits for some of the stuff. It was damaged in Hurricane Ian. So some of those permits were that far behind that, then that puts us again in a bad scenario. The comps had actually dropped a little bit, so he was kind of on point with that. Knew what the rental policies were and something, so we didn't have a lot of exit strategies either. So it kind of just turned that into a no deal. So if we would have went in there blind and just said, oh, we comped it out ourselves and we know all and we're be all there, that would have slapped us in the face and we would have lost money on that one, or at least not made any money for, we would have made a couple dollars for 6 months of headache. So it just wasn't worth it at that point.
And although that you want to be proactive with your property searches, the agent can point you in the right direction to find those estate auctions or listings or different types of auctions or networking events. They're not going to do the work for you, but they can point you in the direction, which, you might not know an auction's coming up or that sort of thing. And, maintain the realistic expectations. Not every property is going to meet your investment criteria. And as we all know, deals fall through all the time, but stay patient and persistent. And, if you do what you say you're going to do and you're actually closing deals with that agent, they're going to be with you for the long haul and they're going to help you find opportunities and continue to invest with you. And then one great thing that once you build that trust and rapport with the agent and you've got some deals under your belt with them and they realize that you know what you're doing, you're professional, you're doing the right things, working with them, then you can try to come up with an approach to get those off-market deals that the agent has. And this, it's you have to build a very strong relationship. They don't do it, automatically. You have to, like I said, demonstrate the professionalism, and they want to see, the integrity that you have, and they want to, know, like, and trust you. And that's, the goal here with everything.
And also your ability to close, because a lot of people say, they'll be like, oh, I want an off-market deal. And then, they have a small, pocket buyer list or whatever that they'll kind of go to. And, if they give you one of their better deals and then you can't close, well, they've lost trust with the person that was selling. And then, they've given you a deal that you didn't close, that some of their other people will. So you probably get one shot at that. And when you don't close, they're not going to call you again.
No, go to the next. That's one thing you do want an investor friendly agent that's working with other investors, but you want to let them know that you're, that, they want to come to you first with the deal. So you do have to have some finesse and let them know, communicate your interest in exploring these opportunities. Explain, that you'll look at those unique investments, that you're not stringent. Excuse me. And again, let them know that your criteria for these might be a little different than the market deals, because you're going to have a better spread. You're going to have, better deals with these off-market deals. And offer incentives to motivate them to choose you over the other investors in their pocket. You know, this can include like bonuses, higher commissions, referrals to other clients and their, you know, that you can give them referrals and clients and customers. And let them know that you will stay confident, that, you know, you're not going to let everybody know that they're feeding you the off-market deals. You want confidentiality on both parts. And stay persistent, but patient. Sometimes they, you know, they might be on that line and, you know, you might be talking them into giving you off-market deals, but they're not quite ready yet. So, you know, keep on them, but be patient and be respectful. And, you know, flexible and open-minded. They might want to start out giving you a couple to see how it goes. Like Jane said, feeling you out, seeing if you are going to close and do what you say you're going to do. And then once you pull that trigger, then they'll have more trust. And, you know, the follow through, always, you know, follow through with everything. Do your due diligence and prepare to move forward quickly with these deals. And I just know, you just know. And these are different realtors in different states that we've built these trusts and rapport and relationships with. And we've worked with them. Sometimes, you know, these are investors too. So sometimes we'll invest with them, or, you know, they'll give us some off-market deals. They'll have something that they have struggles with moving a house and we'll help them out. They'll help us out. These have been strong groups throughout the years that we've dealt with. Like one of them in Chicago, Sandy and Willie, they're in the Georgia market. Debbie's in Maryland.
And it's her birthday, so
What
happy
is her
birthday,
birthday?
Debbie. And that's something like just, you know, something simple like that, reaching out to say, you know, happy birthday. You know, that's probably, you know, then we're like back fresh on her mind that, you know, even if you haven't talked to him for a while. So, you know, we have a couple in Florida, and this is just a couple we've gotten pictures with. But you know, it's still, it's people that you work with and you want to stay in touch with, and you want to stay fresh on their mind.
It's funny, the lady who takes care of our dog when we're away, she just recently got her license. So we're looking at, I know we say we want to use the experienced ones, but it's a kind of a different case where we want to think about grooming her and getting her ready for investing with investors. So, I mean, I'm sorry, working with investors, using investors as their clients, and kind of showing her the ropes a little bit. So,
and also kind of teaching them about investing too, because a lot of agents are just, you know, that training goes right to this and not, you know, so you know, sometimes you can get them in on a deal, even if it's, you know, 10% equity, or, you know, you can somehow get other people into different deals. You know, and something with Debbie, actually she was brand new. I used to work with her in the government. She had left there and was looking for a new thing. I didn't even know, like we talked, but I didn't know she got her license. And then she's like, well, I got my license. And we right away, like, you know, we're like, hey, let's see if we can find some deals. So we bought 5 properties in Baltimore City where she was our representing agent. That was her first deals. So we kind of feel good about that. It was like somebody we knew before. We kind of, you know, taught her a little bit. She's went on to switch to a different company where she's actually a supervisor, and, you know, leads a whole team of people, and that's just since 2018, I think. So, you know, you just different people you want to work with and try to help them out and get them where they want to go as well. You know, we do a lot with the HUD Home Store, not so much anymore, but you know, 2016, 17, 18, that was really our bread and butter. So, you know, you need an agent on board for them. So, you know, a lot of times you can be their assistant or help put the bids in, different things with different agents. So that's something you can, you know, kind of, they can direct you with that, or they come across auctions. I don't know if most of the other auctions you can bid yourself, but the HUD Home Store is kind of specific with that.
but they'll know that they're coming down the pike sometimes before you know a good auction's coming down. So,
And then, you know, you just, if you're out there talking to homeowners and it doesn't fit your criteria, you know, you can say, hey, well, you ought to list it. Or, you know, some people just, you know, they don't know what they have, or they don't know which way, and if it doesn't work for you, you can refer your agent, and then, they can list it so they get the sale that way. Always when we're flipping, if the agent finds us the house, that's gonna be the person that also lists it. So if they find us the deal,
Mhm.
we flip the house, that's an unspoken thing, but they're gonna get the listing to then
Both
go
ends.
ahead and sell it so they get it on both ends.
Yep.
So we always try to do that too, unless they quit or retire or don't want to do it.
We're too busy. So,
Yeah.
okay, that wraps it up with, the short abridged version of working and being successful with working with real estate agents.
That was the 15-minute to 30-minute abridged version. Does anybody have any questions or any agents on here, or anybody want to talk about anything? Marissa, you're sideways. And you're muted. You're muted sideways.
Okay.
Cool.
I don't know. I'll just do it this way. Still
That's all.
sideways.
You're fine.
We're just glad you're here, however you're here.
Thank you. I do have a question. So I've been getting a lot of pop-ups in my YouTubes about people using business credit to purchase real estate. So it's essentially getting business credit cards, maybe some with personal guarantees as you're starting out, and taking the cash from it and using that for down payment. How do you all feel about that?
You can. I don't think we've done much of that, so
We knew somebody that bought us a low. What was it? The house was like, they were able to get a house for like $15,000, and they they used the credit card to purchase it. So it's, any creative way to make things happen, especially at the beginning. You just make sure that you understand what the
terms of
The
the credit
terms
card
and the percentage
and the
rates.
percentage rates and all that stuff, and make sure that you're refinanced out before you
Okay.
do that.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know why I'm upside down. Every time I turn, it just turns. I don't know.
It's all good. We'll
Okay.
take you any way you come.
Thank you. Thank you.
Of course. I think Emma had a question. Do you recommend getting your real estate license for an investor? There are pros and cons with it. I actually thought about getting my license, and I was going through the classes, and
And we got a Groupon, so it was really cheap.
it was a group. It was hilarious. But at the end of the day, I decided that I was only going to use it for investing, and you have to pay the desk fees and the MLS. You have to pay the fee to belong to MLS as well as other things, and then you have to disclose that you're an agent on all your deals, and there, you have fiduciary responsibilities and different rules that you have to follow. Not that it's a bad thing, but we ended up getting a group of agents that worked with us at that point. So I decided not to do it. So, but it's really not a bad idea, because then you can create your own deals and bid on properties for your, business partners and that sort of thing. And if it is your house, then there's, you can.
Yeah, we know a lot of agents, some husband-wife teams that, investors one, agents the other, and, they flip, she sells, vice versa. So there are a lot of good teams out there that do that. Or, we always say that, if your spouse, business partner, whatever, is an agent, you kind of have the keys to the kingdom, because you really do. You have MLS at your fingertips. You can bid on stuff. You can put in offers. Like, probably if I was an agent, they would hate me, because I would put in probably 50 offers daily, because you can just, 50%. If you find 100 houses and you put 50% offers in, you're going to get, people that come back, and they might not be at 50, but they're like, maybe I'll be at 75 or 80, and then maybe you get them down to 70, and then you're at the point you want them to be at anyway. That the numbers make sense. So, and I know, like, sometimes we're like, oh, one of us should get our license, because like you some agents and, and we understand that that's like a pain in the butt to go ahead and put in a bunch of offers at 50%, knowing you might, not get any, and if any, you might get one or two. So I know it's a pain, but at the end of the day, real estate's a numbers game. The more people you call, the more postcards you send, the more, text messages you send. If you send out 1,000, you're gonna get, 20 that come back and call you, and 10's gonna be a deal, and 5's gonna actually go forward. You might get 2 deals out of that, but those 2 deals might, net you 50,000, 100,000. So, then it was worth it. But I think sometimes agents, they don't really see that, and they're not getting the up end of it. They're just kind of getting the commission maybe on both sides and don't see the big picture. But I always say, if you're an agent, you have the keys to the kingdom, if you can make it work.
So it's not a bad idea. You just have to, see if it's worth, because you do have to continue to go to classes each year. You have to on
Continuing
yeah,
education
training
and
and
it's, and the fees can get depending on who you work for. I think some of them
expensive.
have less fees, or if you can find a broker that you just say, hey, I don't really want to do the day-to-day stuff. I'm just
Hanging your
I
hat.
want to hang my hat here, and I'll bring in the deals to, for investors. Hope that answered that. Any other questions, guys? So many blank screens, so no questions. Did we bore you?
So I have heard that, is it a realtor's assistant or realtor's executive assistant or something like that you can get with a realtor and get access to the MLS for a reduced price? Is that still, I'd heard about that a long time ago. I just can't remember if it's still valid or not.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. We really do a pretty good job of comping our between investor comps and prop stream. We do a pretty good job. And then just Zillow. I mean, if you just mix in some of the other ones and look at the sold properties, you can get pretty close with the comps. So we don't bug them that much that we've ever asked. But like, you can be an assistant to put in HUD bids. So we've managed to do that in several states, which is, we like the HUD home store.
Cool.
Makes sense though that you could have an assistant.
Right. Or would it make sense to get together maybe with an agent and say, something, if you find the deals or whatever it is, you get to keep the commission. And by the way, I'm gonna have you send it 100 HUD offers every day, but I'll give you 10% off the top or something like that to make it more
Right.
worthwhile, or I'm not sure.
Yeah, and sometimes you have to, I don't know what, because we're not agents, I don't know what the guidelines are with,
Oh,
them
right.
taking different things. And I know a couple times we've offered and agents have been like, no, we can't do that. So instead of like monetary, it might be gift cards or, hey, we'll take you out to dinner or something. So I don't know what some legal things are. And again, young and dumb, we didn't, with the HUD home store, that was back 2016, and there was probably 50, 60, deals in Maryland. And, we had a couple agents, and, I was like, oh, every day I'd be like, oh, here's 35, 40, it not knowing that was time consuming. Like, again, having no idea. It's just like, oh, you just send them in and, they're the deals. And then you do a counter. And it wasn't until, one of the agents was moving, and she's like, I can't, and with HUD, you want to bid every night. There's certain things that, put you in a better position to win those bids. And, I don't know, they were moving or kids were doing something. And she's like, I can't do it this week. And I'm like, oh my God, we've been bidding on these houses. They're finally dropping prices. And, she kind of made me an assistant. And then I saw how time consuming that was. But,
It's like, well, we did
yeah,
them for months and
right.
months and
But,
months.
with those codes, I never looked back because, it was just like, they're happy. All they have to do is cash the check when it comes in, and we could pretty much be an assistant, handle all the contract stuff, and,
Right.
handle most of the stuff. And they had to do very little and just cash the check.
Yeah, they were happy. They were just getting checks in the mailbox for all the ones we were closing. Sitting
Nice.
back, not really doing much. And then the ones that we flipped, then we'd give it to them on the other end to sell. So they were
Mhm.
happy.
have you ever had a, because this is not common in multifamily, and Nicole would know this better, but I've heard of a couple times when a broker will say, something, I'm gonna make X amount of dollars or whatever it is on this. Can I just leave it in there for a piece of equity? Kind of thing. And again, you have to check the rules or whatever it is, but I've heard of people doing that as well. So
I
they're
have
more
heard of that,
incentivized to
and
get
yeah,
something.
early on, because we didn't know any better, we didn't know that was a thing. So, obviously, if they can, it's in their legality things. We would
Right.
definitely do that. And I have heard that, so I'm guessing they can. Maybe Nicole could answer that.
I've heard them doing it with like buying and selling businesses too. It's keeping a piece of the equity with
No, I didn't know
like just
that. Yeah.
regular business.
And then Emma's asking
And
where you find the HUD properties.
yeah, it's www.hudhomestore.gov now.
Yeah.
So you just go on there, and there's certain rules with them. The brokerage has to be NAID approved. So, but it's very easy. You can just go on and find agents that are approved, and then, chat with them. If you're, and to be honest, a lot of agents don't even know how to operate the HUD home store. So we've taught some of our agents, we've actually taught how to use that. And then that helps them with some of their people looking for houses, because they didn't even know how to bid on them, and they would bid close to full price. And we're like, oh, no, you bid this. And then when they come back at the, because they will accept, like, we had it down to a science that they would accept, 75%, or you can tell if they would accept 72%, when it was going to drop, and how the algorithms work. So you kind of teach the agent how to use the HUD home store, and then they're happy because they can bring that to their people that are looking for maybe a fixer upper, or something that's a little less money.
And make sure like you do the drop down menu when you go on the screen, and it'll say the ones that are open to investors. That starts out open to homeowners, and then nonprofits, and then the properties, when they're still available, they're open to investors. So make sure that you're looking at the ones that are available to investors at the
Yeah,
time.
we have heard of people that do that, but that's not something that you want to get caught with or do. So just keep it simple, keep the investor properties, and we could probably do a whole class on the HUD home
We
store.
could.
I think Nicole
think of that.
probably could too.
Yes, Nicole's good at it too. What did you say, James?
No, I was thinking that, wow, that'd be a great class to add to the academy. I think we would like that.
Sure.
Oh, Emma says, please do.
It is, you really, have to keep on top of it. And like Jane said, bid every day, or you mess up the algorithms, and then it'll start over, and you have to start right from scratch again. So it is a technique that you have to use.
I mean, I remember we were on a cruise ship and whatever, out going to the Caribbean somewhere, and I had to go back to the room to bid on the thing, so we didn't actually lose those couple days with the internet. And the internet not working and having a fit. Like, I got to get these in, because so we ended up getting them in, and I think we actually won one on the while we were on the cruise.
We got some
Living
really
the
good
dream.
deals.
Living the
Yes.
dream on a cruise ship, buying properties.
I remember, I don't know if you guys knew Will Mitchell, but we wholesaled him one, and we got it as a HUD home, and then we wholesaled it to him as we were stepping onto another cruise. Like, we had to hurry up and get the paperwork done or something. But
It always happens to us if we're going away. Things come together right at the last day, or while we're gone. It's like it could be kind of dead for a week or two before we go. And then just when we're, hitting the airplane or going on the
so
ship.
we're on our way up to Maryland for the class. When's that? March 7th through the 10th. I'm sure
Yep.
there's going to be a flurry of activity as we're in the car or flying, or however it is that we get up there. But
Did you have a closing when you were going to Iceland?
Yes, we
Yeah.
actually did.
Mhm.
You're right. That's what we're
Yep.
trying to.
And it was, I forget what, there was some nonsense that was going on that we're like, oh, I think the title company messed up, and
The number they
yeah, it
gave
was a
it
couple
was
$100.
they overcharged us, and we're like, well, it's okay, just put an escrow until we're gone. 'Cause
No, we can't.
they were saying that they had to redo the whole thing again. It's like, we cannot get back to a
Yeah, we
notary.
couldn't
We
get back
can't
to a notary.
It just whatever.
Funny.
But they worked
Jet
it out.
setting
for
real estate investors. You guys are awesome.
Yeah, right.
It's
Gotta
absolute
have
pain of
fun.
fun.
You work hard to play hard, right?
Yep, exactly right. Absolutely.
Right. You guys have any other questions or you know any agents or anybody agents on here? Go ahead.
You muted yourself again.
Shark, I think you muted yourself.
I guess he changed his mind.
May I ask something about the hot home store, if you don't mind?
Of course.
Of
Yeah,
course.
absolutely.
Have you used it recently on the website? And it's the first time I'm seeing it, or I'm on the website and I'm not sure exactly where to go. Do you have to register or to have a realtor to be able to see the listings, the houses?
No, you can look at the listings and you just can't bid on them. So then you need that agent to bid on. I know they revamped it when they went to the .gov. They switched some stuff, but just click on your state and that should pull up the properties. I'm not looking at it, so.
And then there's a drop down
I
menu.
see.
We'll have investors, ones that are for the
And
investors.
I'll tell you, I was really going through withdrawal there for a while because I absolutely love the HUD Home Store. And then when the moratorium and COVID and all that, like Florida used to have a ton of properties, and that's how you can kind of bid all over because they're in all of Florida or all of Maryland, wherever you guys are. So when the moratorium kind of hit, it was like, I think Florida might have had maybe 2 properties on every night. And I was just like, or one or none. Then I would go to Maryland because we still bid there. Then I go to Georgia and it was like there was just no properties on there. So it was just like, oh my God, I can't it was just crazy. Because when you're used to bidding on 30 to 40 properties every day, it just down to nothing. It's sad.
I'm sorry, you said something about the investor drop down or?
Yeah, there should be a drop down on there.
Okay, I'll figure it out.
I'm not looking at it.
didn't-
And if you want,
I
Emma,
didn't-
because I know you emailed me last week, so we chat a little bit, but if you want to set up a time, we can kind of get you familiar with it.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Hey, this is Ashok. Sorry, I had to mute again. There's so much going on here. Yes, I'm a real estate agent in Maryland.
Okay.
Awesome. So what's the biggest pain working with investors?
Yes, the CMA part is the one of the biggest one. But then
Yes.
I have I train some of my investors how to look out for that. So once they start doing it, then they're good.
Awesome.
But before doing a deal, I make sure that I'm also doing it and I know what I'm advising them or giving them the directions.
Right. Yep. That's awesome.
That's-
Yeah. If you don't know that the CMA is a pain, then yeah, you can
Yeah,
agents
it's
will
not
be like,
fun.
yeah, it's
No.
not. I actually, and it was probably maybe 2021 or something. We actually watched an agent do the whole CMA and we're like, oh my God, they probably wanted to kill us back in the day. But luckily we didn't bug them too much with it, but probably too much.
We learned.
Do you guys want to talk a little bit about the Virtual Real Estate Academy and what it is and if people want to learn something?
Sure. Yeah. So James touched on it. Again, Nicole and James started this, and there's probably over 50 courses on here. We wish we would have had something kind of similar to this when we started because we just kind of jumped in and made a lot of mistakes and that's kind of the goal of the Virtual REI Academy is just kind of to stop the mistakes. So even, we do the free Teaching Tuesday to give some content, but there's some real meat and potatoes here with all these classes, and all the guys that, and gals that teach on here are, they're actually doing real estate. So it's not people that are just, standing with the Lamborghini saying, I pretend to do real estate. It's actually people that, have done all these different things on there. So there's anything from, mindset to rehab to wholesaling, if you want to get started with that. And all these courses, it's on demand. So you just, you kind of do it at your own leisure, and you can, run through the courses. I think I took a weekend and ran through, a good amount of them. And there's just a lot of good things, a lot of strategies. We're creating more as we speak. Our big niche is virtual, trying to remote, investing. So we're doing some of that. Obviously, we could throw the HUD Home Store on there. That would be just more courses. If there's anything not on here that you guys want to see, just
Give us ideas.
give us some ideas, and we'll throw some. I know there's like a crowded space out there, but it's easy to go through these classes. It's people that actually have done things
And do it the right
and
way.
do it the right way, because there's a lot of people that don't do it the right way.
We've went through classes as beginners and even a little more advanced, thinking we were learning advanced strategies. And a lot of people give you just enough to get you in trouble. And then when you run with it, like we learn something and we run with it and go take action. And, if it's not done the right way, then you're going to get yourself in a whole heap of trouble. These classes are done the right way with, like Jane said, serious people who are doing it all the time, who are professionals, have gotten many, many deals under their belt. So you're not going to get hurt learning from this platform.
And it's, it costs next to nothing. It's probably a cup of coffee every day. If you give that up, you could probably easily afford this, and then just think all the money you're going to make when you're actually doing real estate and doing it the right way and learning the right way, how to do things, how to get deals, how to negotiate. There's some good classes on that. Where to find stuff, forms. I mean, that was one of our, big problems early on, like even wholesaling. It's like, oh, do I have the right contract? Or, and initially you want to go through lawyers, but, if you can just write out a contract that, is the same one that they use. And to be honest, like sometimes, lawyers we've seen for other people, not, their clients or whatever, their contracts have been like pretty crappy, and we have to go through them and, X things out and add things. So there's contracts on here. A big one for us was the scope of work, getting that scope of work for the contractor. So you're not, kind of like, a vague scope of work, and then you get the price back, and it was like, oh, but I did this and I did that, and I did 75 switch plates, and that wasn't on there, but I have to charge you for it. So everything's very specific, and it can all kind of be on there.
And then the contractor knows that you know what you're doing and what you're talking about, so they don't take advantage of you.
And I think that's one of the freebies on there, but there's a lot of good stuff on there.
And like Jane said, we're always adding more content. We have another course that's going to be on here shortly.
And Nicole's done a lot of it. And again, we're just 25 years, 30 years of experience in multifamily, and don't let her fool you. She's done a lot of residential. So that's, she's done a lot of single family. So a lot of knowledge on here. We're just like, we're the late kids to the party, but we're just trying to make it bigger and better.
And what it showed, you're in a private Facebook group, so you can work with other people, partner up with other people like-minded.
And find some partners, money partners, equity partners.
One of the things that always struck me when we were trying to do this is that, well, a couple of things, is that when people get started in residential, most of the time what they get introduced to is wholesaling and rehabbing and maybe a little bit about rentals. But there are 20 or 30 other strategies, and all of them are less risky than rehabbing, at least in my mind, because there's so many things that that you can do and ways to get deals. And if you only learn wholesaling and rehabbing, you have to buy things generally at 50 to 70% of their value to get the deal. So you're throwing a lot of leads away. So what do you do if you have a house that is about what is owed is about what um is about what it's worth? Do you throw that lead away? And I would say the answer is no. And so you come to this and you find out what is a strategy that you might be able to use to buy a house that's at, 90, 95% of value. So you don't throw all these leads away. When you're getting started, I mean, you make it or break it based on marketing. And a lot of times you don't have a lot of money. So how do you set up a marketing plan on basically free or very little budget? So all of this stuff is in the Virtual Real Estate Academy in these classes and more. And it's about $500 a year for all of this, for 50 classes. So think about this as what, $10 a class?
Mhm.
I just think it's an incredible value of what is there. And like Sharon and Jane are saying, they have plans to add lots of other classes to this. And you will get that as they come online, you get that. So James is working on getting one of their classes posted up there pretty quick. James, you want to talk about how that's coming and when we might see that?
So the class is, which one are you talking about? The virtual wholesaling or the other one reported before that? Jane, Sharon?
Or the virtual investing, is that?
Yeah,
There's
I'm
that
sorry.
one.
Wholesaling.
Yeah.
So they're working on it now. We'll probably have it up there in the next 3 or 4 weeks or so. It's taking a little bit longer than we thought. But there won't only be that one, but there will be other ones we'll add as, the market changes, new strategies come out and things like that. So we want to make sure that it's updated with the most up-to-date information that's going to help you be successful, no matter what the market is.
And if I could piggyback on Nicole, like we jumped in and it just, we didn't know any other way to buy. We were taught cash, and if you didn't have the cash, oh well, or if you didn't find a partner that had the cash, and it just, looking back, we had so many leads that just were thrown away that we didn't, act on. We would have a lot more deals if we, had probably, knew these other ways. We just didn't know. And it's, so it's all the money that it cost us for that, if we would have had something like this, it would have been a lot better. We would have had a lot more deals. We might have been catching up to Nicole. Just kidding.
You're catching up plenty quick.
We got ways to go. We want to be like you when we grow up. So that's just there's so much on there and so many different things you can do and so many different options that, because if you don't like rentals, then you can do rehab. If you don't like rehab, you can do master lease, which Nicole talked about earlier. So there's just so many different things you can do in real estate, and a good portion of them are on this thing. And we found if you don't invest in yourself, you're going to make a lot of mistakes, and it's not going to go good. And a lot of people just do one rehab, they're one and done, and they don't do anything else.
Thank
So
you,
that's my
guys.
2 cents. Thank you. Any other questions? Comments?
I think it would be neat to learn how to use the updated HUD home store too. I think that would be a great class pretty quick.
Okay. Yep, we can do that.
Sounds perfect.
I used to use it, but I haven't used it for quite a few years now, so.
Yeah, they kind of threw me a curveball when they switched it. They changed a lot of stuff, but
Yeah,
Plus, there wasn't a lot of properties on there during the COVID and all that, and now properties are starting to come back, so.
Yeah, Emma, how many was on there? Are you in Maryland? Is how many were on there and when you were looking?
Are you talking to me?
No,
One
Emma was
second,
looking.
I'm gonna have to go back 1 second. Cause I'm on the virtual academy now.
Okay.
Okay. It was slim picking through the,
14.
Okay, all right, so they're coming back a little bit. So,
back in the day, there was pages.
yeah, it was probably 60 a night.
But
Well,
it's,
This is not good news, but if you're an investor, it may be. Because Goldman Sachs has increased their predictions of delinquencies to 13 to 15%.
Wow.
wow, that's a lot.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean foreclosures, but it means kind of people who are in
Delinquent,
trouble.
yeah. Right. Which, that's subject to, there's a course on there, so a lot of creative ways to get some of these, and at the end of the day, we're problem solvers. That's what you're looking to do is, solve a problem, put some money in their pocket, put some money in your pocket and keep it moving.
And you'll have a leg up on the other investors. Most other people don't know these strategies. I wished we knew these strategies back when we were negotiating with different properties. We would have a lot more money.
Yeah, we drive past places and shake our head and like, could have had that one if we knew what we knew now.
Yeah, I wish we would have learned this sooner.
All right, cool. I think next week, we're gonna have a guest, Ernie Smith's gonna be on here talking about, the price is wrong, a four-step process to estimating. So that's, with rehab, so that's a good one. He's very skilled contractor.
Awesome.
All right.
I like
Thank
that.
you,
I'm looking forward
everybody.
to it.
So yeah, I appreciate everybody staying on and, we'll see you guys next week. We appreciate you being here.